We're here. We're here. We're here.
We gotta push. Oh, you already did. You pushed go.
Push go already. You guys, okay, pop the bubbly because woo woo. It is season 2
of Creative Happy Hour.
Creative Happy Hour. Yay!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. So we are going to be popping the bubbly because we're talking today about happiness.
Woo.
Yay! Happiness is super important. This is a subject that's kind of challenging. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to measure happiness, but we're going to talk to you about. Oh, and it's the found. The found says, Happy New Year! Happiness is super crucial to creativity. It's crucial to productivity. It's crucial to the workplace. And so we're going to talk about it. How do you define happiness? How do you measure happiness? How do you increase happiness?
And how do you get it?
And how do you get it? And then how do you express it in your creative pursuits? And then we are going to have some mini episodes and we're going to tell you more about those a little bit later.
Yes.
But let's pop the bubbly, you guys. We're going to talk to you about how bubbles, ebullient, all this little happiness. This is the Louise d'Estrée Brut. It is, woo, cheers. It is not champagne because happiness can be cheap. You can't buy happiness, so we're just buying the cheap bubbly that works, just like happiness works, to increase everything in your life. That's what we think. Happiness is where it's at. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we are pouring this. Okay, that's it. Putting it here. Very elegant. Okay, you guys. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Okay, let's taste this bubbly little frothy
little happy juice.
Happy juice. Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's just bubbly.
Sounds better than champagne.
Because it's cheaper. We love it. We love cheap. Like,
it makes me happy.
Makes me happy not to spend money on my happiness. I mean, I think this is great. It's simple, it's bubbly, it's dry.
It's dry. I love that it's dry.
We're going to include exactly what it is in our show notes. We're going to plug the shit out of them. People, if you want us to be sponsored by you, if you want us to talk about you and your alcohol and your champagne and your cocktails, call us.
Yeah.
And also click the little bell button and subscribe to our show.
Subscribe.
Ding, ding, ding. Because we have so much cool stuff coming up. That's gonna be great. So, okay, Micah, what does, well, by the way, this is Micah Black.
I'm Micah
She's
Black.
awesome. She's my creative bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm her creative bitch. I'm Karena Akhavein. And we are your co-hosts
of Creative Happy Hour.
And if you haven't watched all of season 1, you might want to do that because you're going to realize that she's the intellectual bitch, I'm the pop culture bitch. That's the way we work out. But what does happiness mean to you? Have you given the concept of happiness a lot of thought?
Maybe not a lot of thought, but I mean, I definitely feel like it's something that I seek out.
Yes.
And I for many years, I just thought happiness was something that happened to lucky people.
Ooh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, and so I just thought, oh, people are happy because they're lucky. You know, maybe their brain chemistry is such that they feel happy, or they have circumstances that are not stressful, so they feel happy.
Right.
And I guess basically what I came to was, well, if I'm ever going to, I was wrong. If I'm ever going to feel and be happy, then I have to choose to be happy.
Yeah.
And so it's essentially a choice.
Yes,
and it's
I agree.
a choice that you have to make over and over and over.
Over and over again. Yeah, because happiness is not like joy. Happiness is the state of being happy. So it's like maintaining.
It's a contentedness with your circumstances, whatever they may be.
Totally. And yeah, exactly. Like, we're going to talk more about how you measure happiness and what happiness is, but like, happiness is not just that lucky person who won the lottery,
right,
and who's stunningly gorgeous and drives this great sports car. Like, happiness can be the person who's got terminal cancer, but who has this community of people around them who feels like usefulness in their life and a sense of purpose. So we're going to talk about all of those elements that can bring about this state of happiness. But first of all, like, yeah, how do you define happiness? I'm so with you where I thought happiness was just something that you had. And now I realize that it's something that
it's either you have it or you don't have it.
Right.
And that's not true. It's something that you have to make a conscious effort.
Completely.
Just like anything in your life. And it's, again, as I always say, it's a feedback loop.
It is a feedback.
The more you practice it, the more you
Yes.
practice, okay, maybe I don't have very much money and
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to be able to buy that, blah, blah, blah. But
I can have happiness.
But I can do this, and that
Yes.
makes me happy.
Absolutely. And also people wonder, like, why is happiness important? It's not just so that you don't off yourself or anything like that.
Which, that's a good reason,
That's
too.
a good reason. But happiness can definitely make you more productive, both in a creative sense
Yes.
and in a professional sense. So it's something that we really seek out. So companies are hiring chief happiness officers, so CHOs. It's a C-level thing. It's not human resources. It's a completely different job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I need to apply for one of those
Right?
jobs.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later as well, because I think that that's pretty cool. So that shows you that corporate America is seeing that happiness is really crucial. And then they, you know, all of a sudden when you've got happiness being as, you know, a benchmark for success and money making and all of that stuff, then of course people are going to do research. So we've got a bunch of books that we are also going to recommend to you guys, that you can, you know, kind of read more about what happiness is and everything else. Because, I mean, we do the research, people. But maybe once in a while we fudge some of the details.
Right.
Maybe some of the while we forget some things.
We're not exactly.
Details, dates, not us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we
That's
will
okay.
talk.
We're more team concept.
We are team concept. Yeah. Okay, so let's start there's a 2007 book. Sonja Lyubomirsk. Lyubomirsk. We're going to put her name.
I clearly
on
didn't read the book.
Yeah, 2007, The How of Happiness. And I like this, The How of Happiness. That is telling us that happiness is something that you can
It's
learn
achievable.
to achieve.
Yeah.
The how.
You can
exactly. Do it. Yes. So she says.
What does she recommend?
First of all, the more important thing is first she describes and defines happiness, because what happiness is hard to kind of pin down.
It is.
So
I think it's an individual experience, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. But she says that generally it is the experience of joy, contentment, or positive well-being, combined with a sense that one's life is good, meaningful, and worthwhile. So let's break down all
Sounds
of these.
good. That sounds right.
Well, yeah, like let's break down all of these elements. So the experience of joy, and so joy is a whole different thing, right? Joy is kind of that. I think that's kind of like
that's an actual emotion. I think it's not
an emotion.
It's not really a state of being, or
it is I think joy.
It is, but it seems to be more like, you know how that movie
overarching.
Inside Out.
Yes, I knew you were going to bring that. See,
and
I
there
thought
was
I
joy.
was the pop culture bitch. Yeah, yes, you're absolutely right. I knew you were going to bring that up. There is joy. Joy is one of those things, and you can oppose joy to other states, so it's easier maybe to define. Whereas happiness is more fleeting, right?
Yeah, and it's more context.
It's context based.
Yes.
Exactly, which is why you can create it. This is why you can make it work.
Yeah, it's like when you go home and you're just like, you're out of wine and you're like, what the hell? And I didn't go to the store and you're too tired.
Yeah, but then somebody brings you wine and you're like, this is happiness. I'm happy.
Yeah, or your neighbor texts you and says, hey, you want to come upstairs for a glass of wine?
You're like, yes, I do. And now I feel happier.
And then all of a sudden, it's...
Happiness is here.
Yeah, happiness arrived.
Happiness has arrived. Exactly. So the contentment is another thing. And they say contentment or positive well-being. So that's like, I mean, right now, you two, perfect. Full disclosure, we're both wearing slippers.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to wear like heels, even though I'm wearing like a nice dress. I was like...
Right?
Now, if I was going out to dinner in this dress, I would be wearing heels.
Right. But we wanted to have that positive well-being. We want to have that comfort. It's a state of like, we're putting our feet up. We've got our slippers on. We feel good. I would say that right now we feel pretty damn happy. It's happy hour.
It's happy hour. So that is the criteria of happy hour, to be happy.
To be a little happy.
For 1 hour.
Make it happen.
Just be happy.
Fake it till you make it if you can't do that. If you're a miserable bitch, just smile during happy hour. That's why they give you the cheaper drinks, so that you can be
and so that they're cheaper, so that you can buy more of them. So if you're not happy, you can get happy.
Exactly. So there's this positive well-being. I think it's important to be positive. Positivity is massive. You can look at the same situation and completely skew how you feel about it.
Right.
You know, you can have negativity or positivity, and I think that both of those things are really crucial. You know, we are absolutely responsible for how we look at any given situation.
Right.
You know, so we're drinking this cheap bubbly, we can be like, we're so lucky, this is awesome, it was cheap, it was lovely. Or we can be like, we're some poor bitches who couldn't afford the Cristal.
Can't afford the Veuve or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. But, you know, it's all in how you look at it.
Right.
So I think that that's another major thing. And then combined with a sense that one's life is good, meaningful, or worthwhile. And I think that having a sense of purpose and meaning is another huge, huge, huge part of the happiness equation.
Oh yeah, I mean Viktor Frankl, you know, he's the Holocaust survivor that wrote a book
yes, and
called,
we will
Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes,
it's right there, and meaning. I actually did read it.
Yes.
And he basically says, you know, you can survive any how if you have a why.
Exactly.
So anything,
and then there's find your why, which
and I mean that's a little bit of like the dark version of.
Sure,
but you know,
but it is hard. If you can justify something, then you can make it have meaning, and then you can find a reason for having gone through things, and that's where religion comes in.
Sure.
That's where all of these things come in to allow you to have a feeling of joy despite all the worst circumstances. If you can find a meaning behind it, and I think that's really big. And I think that as a creative, we're always searching for meaning. And as a creative, we're always searching for the connections between things. And this is why creatives have this huge talent for happiness, but also it's a creative's, I think, purpose in life to express things that are going to bring that happiness and meaning to others as well. So that's why it's important for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons that we seek out art is because it's pleasurable.
Very
and it
much
makes us happy.
Yes.
I mean, another reason I think is to express meaning and use it as a language to define something or explain something or show a different perspective of something.
Absolutely.
However, it is oftentimes, you know, design and art and creative means are used to create joy and pleasure.
Completely, because a lot of the feelings of happiness come through the senses.
Right.
And art, you know, kind of engages those senses. And I think that the more senses you can engage through your creativity or through your art or through whatever you're selling or through, you know, that makes people happy. So if you watch us and listen to us at the same time, you're going to feel happier.
You are. You're just going to be like,
science.
I feel great.
Science.
Yeah, right? It's science in the making right
right,
there.
Exactly. So if you want another definition of happiness, do you want Oxford English Dictionary's definition?
Sure.
Why not?
See.
I mean, that's like so
How
literal.
different are they?
So, I know. So Oxford English Dictionary, they say... the state of being happy. That's happiness. Thanks. Okay. So if you're wanting another thing, so if you want to define happy, they say feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Okay. Feeling or showing. So feeling, that's interesting. Like that's subjective. That's you. Like you know whether you're feeling it or not. But then there's this whole maybe scientific thing where people can measure. Maybe you've got a hormonal flux or maybe you've got, you know, but then also the expression of it.
You can act happy.
You can act happy. And so they say fake it till you make it. Like it's scientifically proven that if you smile or laugh, A, you're going to feel happier. B, you're going to make the people around you feel happier.
You're going to attract people that want to be around you.
Exactly. Law of attraction, bitches. Like it's going to happen. So I think that that's amazing that if you're expressing things, so even if you're expressing music that's cheerful or you're expressing, you know, a message that's cheerful or you're trying to attract people who are happy, that is going to create this kind of snowball effect. And I think that's amazing.
I agree.
That's what, you know, our creativity is here for. So I'm very excited about that. So, okay, here are a few other little considerations. So happiness is a state, not a trait. So it's not a long-lasting, permanent thing. It's fleeting and changeable. So that means that we are responsible for maintaining it.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to a really happy, fun event and have so much fun and be happy.
And then you leave it, you're like,
get stuck in traffic.
Yes.
Get food poisoning.
That happens to me all the time,
You know,
by the
spill
way.
some weird shit on your white dress.
I'm the food poisoning bitch.
Yeah.
Like, that is my story of my life.
Get a DUI or, you know, whatever. I mean, you could just have like...
Drink responsibly.
Yeah. No, but seriously, you could have all this like fun, happy stuff and then... Within 2 hours,
flip of a switch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so again, I think it comes back to how are you going to handle that, or what kind of choice are you going to make?
That's exactly it. Is how do you handle things? How do you frame things? How do you consider what happens to you?
Do you let an unhappy moment or season take you down and not be productive because you're unhappy, your boyfriend broke up with you and you're not happy?
Yeah, exactly.
And,
right. And that's the thing where they say that if, as a creative, like so many people think of this whole thing of the creative as depressed and really tortured and all this stuff. But in reality, every single piece of research shows that you have to have some level of joy or happiness or at least positivity to put things out there, because if not, you just don't have that motivation.
Right.
You don't have that power that you need, because I mean, the creative process is not easy. It's not always fun. But you have that purpose. And so
well, I'm reading a book right now called The Creative Spark by Micah Shapiro. I think I sent you a picture because they were having a book talk or something at Book Passage. Anyway, I got the book.
Can we just do a shout out to Book Passage, please? Because
I love that place.
Book Passage is amazing in Northern California.
Amazeballs, as Karena would say.
We're so lucky because they are one of these bookstores that really
thrives,
puts on amazing community events.
Yeah, amazing.
Fantastic place. So if you are anywhere near Northern California at any given point.
Yeah, they have one they have one it at the Corte Madera.
That's the best one.
And then they have one at the Ferry Building in San Francisco.
Yeah. Do they have one in Palo Alto? I can't remember.
They might. I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't think so. But
but definitely Ferry Building, Corte Madera. Amazing
but
place.
They have events almost every evening constantly. With authors,
creativity in action.
Yeah, it's really just nonstop action.
It's great. So okay, Creative Spark.
So it's all these anecdotal stories and interviews with creative people.
Nice.
And so I was reading this morning when I was having my coffee, which makes me very happy.
If you haven't done it, check our morning routine episode.
Yeah, morning coffee is essential, and it makes me so happy if it's made properly.
She's not
I remade the coffee.
Murderous.
I remade the coffee this morning because I didn't like the way it tasted, so I remade it.
Did you get your coffee from
Modern Times?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't like it.
Shit.
Yeah, I was super bummed.
So no plugs for Modern Times.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't try the other one yet. I got another one. That one was called Black House, and it was, I live in the Black House. I'm Micah Black.
Right, exactly.
And
you're like, this is named for me. I should be able to.
No.
Okay.
My boyfriend will like it. It's the flavor he likes. I will give it to him because I don't want it now. Okay. Interesting. But I got one called Winter. I don't know.
Anything seasonal, I'm a sucker for.
Yeah, and so anyway, because it's like aged in bourbon barrels, whatever.
Ooh,
but I don't know. Okay. Now I'm kind of not interested because
it's been ruined. The moment has passed.
It was ruined. Anyway, I was reading Creative Spark this morning on second cup of coffee because it was good this time. And I was reading about Smokey Robinson and how he, was a songwriter early in his life. He started writing songs when he was little, and he didn't think he was going to be able to, be a singer-songwriter. He was always singing. His mom died tragically when he was a little boy, and she was really his muse, promoter.
Sure.
Yeah, she was his muse.
But somebody passing away, you're thinking this is such an obstacle to happiness, but really it's not, because if you can go beyond.
Oh, you wouldn't believe, like, his whole interview. He had like a 15-minute phone interview with Smokey Robinson, and he still tours. Yeah. He goes and tours. He's 70 years old.
I've seen his tour bus,
and
actually.
He
actually
tours. He said, touring makes me so happy.
That's awesome.
I go on the stage, and he's like, I don't sing to the audience. I sing with the audience.
I love that. I love that. That's finding the meaning. That's finding your why. That is finding what makes you move forward and feel like you're doing something. And I love that.
Yep. So there you go. Smokey Robinson.
Smokey Robinson. Cheers to Smokey. We love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Happiness is equated with feeling pleasure or contentment, but it's not to be confused with joy, ecstasy, bliss, or any more intense feelings. Like sometimes people are like, yeah, I'm kind of happy. I feel kind of okay, but like I'm not super happy. But that's not what it's about.
Right.
It's all about these moments of feeling like, hey, life is good. Hey, this sofa's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Hey, my shoes are comfortable. Hey, this wine's pretty good. Like that's happiness to me is, and reflecting and being like, oh, you know what? I'm in a state where things are okay. Your friend Abraham Maslow, all my needs are taken care of.
Well, and that's what during the power outage, my daughter was having a freak out because we didn't have any internet. And we didn't have any lights and we didn't have any heat.
I think internet is like at the top of my pyramid though.
Yeah.
Seriously. Let's be crystal clear.
No, it's top of her pyramid too, and most people now in the world. But,
Yes.
you know, she's having a meltdown and it's like, she's freaking out. And I'm like, honey, we've got candles. We've got plenty to eat.
We're together.
We're together. We have Uno over candlelight. We have, you know, wine. We have, you know, of course she can't drink the wine, but I can.
She could try, yeah.
You know, I've got camping stoves, so we're able to make like macaroni and cheese. So it was like, I was like, you need to turn your frown upside down, kid.
Yeah, girl. Show some happiness. Fake it till you make it, my friend.
Like, get with the program. Get creative. We don't want to hear
it. Get creative.
Stop
yes.
crying.
Exactly. So happiness can be either feeling or showing. So it means happiness is not necessarily either an internal or an external experience, but it can be both. And it can alternate. And that's where the creativity, like, I think that for creatives, you were talking about the feedback loop.
Yeah.
And I think that as a creative, you're constantly taking in these external stimuli and this external feeling, and then you're projecting it back out as something else, you know, or trying to create these ties between things.
Yeah, you're trying to determine these external things that happen or are happening or you're experiencing.
Yeah.
You're using them as some kind of way to
like
determine whether you can be happy or let down your guard or be engaged.
And like, what's my place in the world?
And I guess what we're saying is that you can do that anyway.
You can always do that.
Regardless of what's going on.
Exactly. Like, regardless of what your fundamental situation is, I think that you can always find a way to take it and to spin it so that you can make it positive in some way.
Yeah.
Either things are looking up or things will get better, or I remember this wonderful thing. Like, this is where memory and projection and forward thinking, and, you know, sometimes we talk about living in the now. Sometimes maybe your now is suboptimal, and that's when you need to be smart enough to be like, you know what, my now is suboptimal, so let's think about past and future.
Yeah, in 2 weeks when this is over,
exactly,
I'm doing this.
And like, let me put down the groundwork so that I can lay that foundation for my future happiness.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I mean, I was just on a trip. I was in North Carolina, and I was like, oh my God, if any of you are from Charlotte, North Carolina, you can tell me, other than the NASCAR Hall of Fame, what is there to do in your fair city? I would love to know. But I was super chipper. I was super happy because I was in my hotel room working on stuff that I knew was laying the foundation for kind of the next season of Happy Hour, the next season of, you know, all of my writing stuff. And I was like, this is great. Somebody else would be like, I am locked in this hotel room in this godforsaken place. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
This is miserable. But
bad
I was like,
coffee
yay.
And okra.
I was pretty bad coffee, yeah. But I discovered DoorDash and, you know, whatever. I was like, this is fine. It wasn't great food, but I was like, I'm doing something worthwhile. And so it was fine. It was fine.
You made the best of it.
I made the best of it.
And I was fine. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But it did matter because I was actually literally happy sitting there by myself for 5 days on end, which I didn't think would be possible, but it was. So happiness is not even other people. Like, it's an absolute thing that you can find no matter what. You know, like, you have so many different options for creating a different version. Like, your version of happiness is not my version of happiness, nor is it your version of happiness tomorrow or yesterday.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And I also think that holding on to this notion of happiness as this, like, constant state of being, whereas I'm like, okay, I'm going for 15, 20 minutes of coffee happiness in the morning.
Yes, and then I'm going to go through a little bit of misery. And
I'm going to have an argument with my daughter. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to probably
happening.
show up late to work.
Yes.
You know, and I'm going to feel stressed. But in that 15 minutes, I say to myself, this is your 15 minutes, babe.
This is it.
You better just be happy and enjoy it.
Yes.
And own your happiness when you're having it.
Own those moments. And also, that creates the contrast.
They restore you.
They do restore you.
You're like, okay, I had that 15 minutes.
Totally.
I was super happy. I know I'm capable of it.
Yes, I know I'm capable.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, let those moments of happiness feed your feeling that you can do this again.
Yeah.
You can recreate this, and you can make other people feel that. And that's kind of a wonderful thing, you know, like people are always like, oh my God, you're so good with your husband, like the carrot and the stick. Hope he doesn't watch this, it's fine. But it's true. I always feel like if I increase his happiness for this little moment, even if I'm not feeling it, even if he's being kind of a semi-asshole, whatever, sorry. Anybody who knows him who's watching, but I feel like he has those moments where I can make his happiness and it's so easy.
Yeah.
And then my happiness is more assured because he's going to be in a better mood.
You've invested in your own happiness.
I've invested in my own happiness.
Yeah.
So I kind of love that.
Feedback loop.
It's a feedback loop.
You get out what you put in.
Exactly. So I kind of adore that. So, okay, let's talk about how do you measure happiness?
Yeah, that's a good, right? I don't even know. That's a great question.
That's the thing. Like, so many scientists have said that you actually can't measure happiness. It's impossible. And other people got really frustrated by that because they're like, oh, come on, well, we need to measure it. We need to know this. And why is this important? It's important because, for example, in companies, like employee happiness is important. Or in countries, like for the economy, like which countries are more happy. And okay, which country is the more happy? You know which countries are more happy. You've heard this like in the news.
Probably Sweden.
Scandinavia. Yeah.
Scandinavia.
Exactly. They report that in the news, and I think that that's an important metric.
Well, again, I mean, you're measuring, you know, these personal terms of value. So, you know, you may be super happy and take a job because you get a lot of time off, a lot of paid time off. Or,
that's one of the measures for happiness.
You may get a lot of compliments. You may get a lot of, you know, benefits. You may get to travel. Yes. You know, it just depends on what your criteria is.
Totally. Each of those things has a different weight for
and
different people.
That's something that you need to consider if you're trying to be more happy. Exactly. You need to start defining for yourself, what is it that makes you happy?
Exactly. And how do you do that? You do that by figuring out, by like measuring. So we've got some good little tips on how to measure your happiness. So this is really interesting. So they say happiness is known by another name in positive psychology, and it is called subjective well-being. SWB.
I like the SWB.
SWB. It's like we're like the SWF. We're not SW. No, I'm an MWF. You're a SW. No, you're a CWF, coupled white female. Okay, cool. Oh, anyway, yes.
So far,
so good. So SWB, it's defined as your evaluations, your own evaluations. So that's it. So again, stop comparing, stop looking at people on Instagram going, oh my God, they're so awesome. Like your own self-evaluation without comparing to anybody else. Your evaluation of your own life and your moods and emotions, hence the term subjective.
Right.
You know, and then you also have that people can then look at you from the outside and then they can be objective about you and be like, okay, what kind of things are they demonstrating? What kind of behaviors? What kind of, you know, other stuff? So kind of interesting. So you can say, if you want to test your own happiness, there are some tests that you can do online.
Oh.
Yeah. So look up the Satisfaction with Life Scale. It's the SWLS. That measures your life satisfaction. And then you can do, and we'll put a link to that in our show notes because we aim to please.
Yes, we do.
And then you can do the positive and negative affect schedule, PANAS, not penis, panis. It's different. To measure
penis, panis,
potato. Okay, to measure positive and negative affect. So this is how things affect you. So like when something shitty happens to you, like do you go, oh my God, my life is ruined for the rest of my, or do you just go, okay, this is something shitty that just hit the fan and now I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, I mean, in the past when I was younger, in my 20s, I would get kind of devastated by things, and I would mourn things, and I would become very downtrodden.
Yes.
And and I would almost use it as like a platform to be.
Oh yeah, sometimes like you're happy being miserable.
Yeah, it's like it's a victim mentality.
Oh, but victim mentality can make you so happy. Like misery can be something that makes you so satisfied.
No, it's true.
But it's not a good look. We're saying it's not a good look when you're over 20, 21. Yeah, my son called me yesterday. I'm like, ooh, why is he calling me? He never calls me. Yeah. And he's like, oh my God, my limo from the airport. I was like,
first of all, you just said limo in a sentence. That was,
right.
You were in.
My point exactly. And he's like, oh, it broke down and my suitcase is locked in the trunk. And I was like, wow. I was like, and that's going to do what?
Yeah.
All my clothes. I was like, well, you wear the same thing every day, so what do you care? And I'm like, hey, newsflash, like they don't want your suitcase for
they don't want your
like, they don't care
little
about
boy
your dumb
underwear.
Shit. Exactly. Thank
Please.
you. And I was like, so really, what are you missing here? You're missing clothes that you would never wear for the next 24 hours for maximum 24 hours. I'm like, and your toothbrush. So now you just have a free excuse to not brush your teeth, which I'm sure you're happy about.
Yeah, which you were probably going to do anyway.
And he's like, thanks, bye. And he like hung up on me. I was like, wow, okay, cool. So
I get hung up on constantly.
Right? I was like, whatever. So if you don't want to go do the websites, if you don't want to look up the terms, the panis and the SWLS that we just told you about, I have a little thing that you can do. It's really like long and annoying, but I don't care. It's going to work. So each moment, you basically, every like half hour or something, set an alarm on your smartwatch.
On your Fitbit.
On your Fitbit.
It'd shock you.
Yeah, have it shock you every half hour. So first of all, that can be something where you're like, I'm getting pissed about this shocking every half hour.
Yeah.
But every half hour, kind of weigh in. And be like, and write it down. So you write
your
down,
degree of happiness every 30 minutes?
Yes. So on a scale of 1 to 3. So you go, okay, so to measure your affect, simple 0 to 3 scale to the questions, are you feeling positive or negative emotions right now? 0 is not at all, 1 is a little, 2 is moderately, 3 is strongly. You input the number for your positive affect and negative affect. And then you write down a word or a sentence describing what you're doing at that time. So that's interesting. Like, then you start to see kind
so
of a
if you're
pattern.
like, oh, I have a 1 on the scale.
And I'm working right now.
And I'm shoveling shit.
Then
or
you
something
start to
like that. Then you
then
might,
you're like, oh, I don't like to shovel shit.
Yeah.
Shoveling shit does not make me happy. Exactly. Then so you can write down like working, doing housework, socializing, all this shit, right? You can make up your own categories. That's fine. We won't judge.
No.
Like, we're not gonna, unless you
we're
want to
not
comment.
even, we're not even.
I mean, if you want to comment below, once you've subscribed to our fucking channel and write to us what you're doing, we will so read every single comment.
Yeah, we're not qualified to judge you.
Yeah, but we're like ridiculously thankful and we'll do anything. So whatever. So write down like socializing. So if you're like, oh, I'm socializing and I'm a 4, I'm super happy, or a 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a 1 and you're socializing, you're
like,
probably
you
some kind of freakish introvert.
And you socializing. You might be like Karena, who's happy in her hotel room.
You might like hermit out.
I'm hermiting out. I hermited out so hard and it was so good. I loved it.
I know. I love being a hermit.
I loved hermiting out. So, like, but when you're in your normal realm and you're hermiting out, you feel kind of guilty because you're like, oh shit. But when you're somewhere where like you
I knew you must have been because I barely heard from you.
I was so happy.
I was like, wow, she must be like.
I know, because usually I'm like texting you, like harassing
you. She must be on like some kind of like.
I was thrilled.
Yeah, I was like, maybe she got hospitalized or something. I was like, I haven't heard from her in days.
Oh, days. I spoke to no one. I did nothing.
Awesome.
My voice was like kind of hoarse in the evening because it was great. Okay. Anyway.
It was amazeballs.
It was amazeballs. So, okay. So now what you do, how satisfied are you with your life at the end of the day? You write that down. So your answer is going to be like, very satisfied, moderately. So you do little numbers, right? That's fine. You maintain this regimen and then finally you can see the pattern. So which activities make you happy, which ones are unhappy, and what can you change to make your life better? Because this is what it's about, people. Like, so many people are like, I'm so unhappy. And you're like, okay, well, what's making you unhappy? Because something is making you unhappy. Open your freaking eyes and see what it is, because if you're just saying, oh, I'm just so not happy about this and I can't change it, that's not true. That's just technically not true. So it's your fault. If you're unhappy, it's your fault. That's sort of a tough love,
I mean, that's a little, I mean, like, we hate to break it to you, and I'm sorry we dragged you all the way down this trail.
I know.
To tell you that it's your
fault.
Fucking
it's all
fault.
About you. It's your fucking fault.
It's your fault.
It's your fault. So
cheer
you can
the
fix
fuck
it.
up.
Cheer the fuck up. But you can do this. Like,
you got to make an effort. You got to make an effort.
See the pattern, and it's just like one step at a time. Like pour yourself a glass. Speaking of which, you need a refill. She needs a refill.
I'll
refill
be right
time.
back,
She'll be right back here
for a short commercial break.
Short
Let's not get crazy.
Let's not go too crazy.
Do you want a little refresh?
I'll have a refresh.
A little bubble refresh. Refresh.
Thank you. Oh my God, I have a big glass of happiness right here. Okay. So.
Alrighty then.
So let's. Oops. Okay. Alrighty then. She's back.
I'm back.
Okay. Cheers. So let's talk about how we measure this happiness, because we're saying that you could self-assess. And we're saying that others can also kind of assess your happiness, because if you're a miserable Bite. Don't think that nobody can tell, because they can't.
Yeah, you're off-gassing.
You're off-gassing
unhappiness,
misery, and people don't like it. So one of the first things that people can tell is the biological thing. So if you've got a scientist in your realm and they're taking your blood or making you spit a thing, your hormones, your hormone levels are going to be showing, and your like heart rate, all that shit.
Oh.
And even I would say just how much are you smiling? How much are your eyes,
How many times did you shower and change your clothes?
That is a major one.
Take care of yourself.
Absolutely. But you know what? Even something, how often do you tweet?
I don't tweet.
I don't tweet either. It's a problem. But it's not that much of a problem when you have such a bad example of over tweeting. So we're fine with not tweeting. But also another funny thing, how often do you use emojis? Like that's something that they're using now. How often do you use emojis in your
I use
text?
them a lot.
Yeah, good. So we're super happy people. Except if your emoji is like all the time, then that's maybe not a happy emoji.
No, I use emojis.
I do too.
But I also use them because they're a fast way to just say send love, send whatever.
I use emojis like I use swearing.
Yeah, me too.
Totally. It's just a punctuation. It's like a boom, like I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Or I'm so pissed. Or like I love emojis.
Yeah, I do too.
They're fun. I think we should do a whole episode on emojis.
Yeah.
That would be so freaking funny.
Yeah, that would be. We will.
We'll do one. We will do it.
It's really good.
Oh my God, that's going to be so good. Okay. The emoji episode. Okay, here's another thing. Reports from others around you. So if people are like, wow, you're being a miserable bitch.
Yeah, what's wrong? Why are you so downtrodden?
Maybe you're being a miserable bitch. Maybe you're not being happy. And then if you're honest with yourself and you do your self-report, like that's another thing of like, okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Like how happy am I or not? And what do we do with this information? You were talking about happiness being a state, right? That you're in.
And it's a fleeting state.
It's a fleeting state. It's fleeting. Also, some people think that happiness is kind of a genetic thing, but the thing that is the genetic thing is how you deal with things and how you approach things. So it's not so much, oh, they were born happy. No.
It's how you frame anything, you know? It's like, you know, you can be like, oh, I'm so tired. I have to blah, 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 you know? And for me, it's like, oh, I'm so tired. I get to take a hot bath with Epsom salts.
Yes.
And put the candles on.
Yes.
And make a cup of tea. And I have all these rituals that make it into kind of this like romantic experience with myself.
Totally. You know? Well, it's like when we had the power outages, like, you know, make it romantic, make it fun.
Yeah.
And I had some moments where I was like, no, it just freaking sucks. And my husband was like, this is so fun. And so we were like, you know, grumpy and happy, and it was fine. It was good. Okay, this is fun. Why? So we've been talking about happiness and how you measure it and what is happiness. Why is happiness so freaking important? I mean, other than, you know, people don't like a miserable bitch.
Well, it motivates you to keep going, you know? It keeps you off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know?
So there is a website called Happify, and it's all about happiness. And there's a woman called June Silney, and she's kind of like this happiness expert. So she says what is so great about happiness. So she broke it down, and so we don't have to.
Thank you, June.
Thank you, June.
Thank you, June.
Thank you, June. So she says happy people are actually more successful in multiple domains. And those domains include marriage, friendship, income, work performance, and health. That makes a shit ton of help, like a shit ton of sense.
I mean, you might want to get happy about that.
You might want to get freaking happy, because it's true. Like when you, I mean, let's break it down. So marriage, yes, obviously. Like if you can kind of learn to laugh at their shitty situations, or if you can kind of see the positive, I think that's major. And then income, I thought that was super interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean the queen. Right? I'm the queen of, I mean, you know, I have the joke of like, oh, we're not poor.
We're European.
We're European. You know, like we live in a 1-bedroom apartment that I've converted to a 2-bedroom apartment.
Right, with your own 2 hands, which we'll talk about that in a second, because there's a whole book about creating your happiness with your own 2 hands.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
It's amazing.
I will tell you about that
and so I just, you know, I reframe the issue. It's like, literally, we're not poor. We're European. We're doing this on purpose.
Well,
you know, because honestly, you know, I could live somewhere else where it's less expensive.
You could live in a big, ugly house, not near anything cool.
Yeah.
Just to have a bigger house. Like I was
I'm never there. I'm never there.
But I was telling my husband.
I left my house at what, 7 o'clock this morning.
Right. And you're not even there yet.
And I haven't even been there yet. And it's 7 o'clock tonight.
No. And I mean, for me, like my, you know, my husband and I, like right now we're staying in this little house here. You can't see all of it, but you can see some of it. Sometimes mini.
Baby house.
Mini. But honestly, I'm like, what more, like, our house is so pretty compared to so many people's giant shitholes. Yeah. You know, like we've made this place look really cool. We hosted a party before the holidays for what, 70 people?
Oh my God, it was amazing.
It was like, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is like a party from when we were young in New York, and people were putting wine in the bathtub. And I was like, exactly. Was that a happy moment? That was a happy moment.
It was really, really good party.
So there you go. So that's the way to frame things. And I think it's just more successful. And then in terms of health, I think that when you're a miserable person, you're like, oh my God, my knee hurts. So my life is over. I can just stop. Or if you're a positive person who's happy, you can be like, you know what? I'm going to use this.
Well, and
as,
I think,
you know, something to take care of myself. Like, this is a sign. I need to take care of myself.
No, and I think, you know, I was talking to my coworker, Pamela, who's been helping me with my little insane diet that I'm on right now.
She's on an insane diet.
And
we're gonna frame it and say that it's a good and happy thing.
Yeah, it is. It's making me happy right now. But one of the things that we talked about was normalizing feeling shitty.
Yeah.
That we tend to normalize like the fact that we feel shitty and we don't do anything about it. And then we give ourselves permission to be constantly unhappy because we feel like shit.
Right. Or
but
just
we
like
don't do anything about it. We normalize it. Like, absolutely. I'm old, so
therefore it's normal that I should feel
It's normal that I feel like shit.
Yeah.
It's normal that and it's like, well, maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not normal. Maybe I should be looking for more.
Maybe
like
I
people
should be
feeling busy.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like,
I know,
the busy thing, like, I don't think that's happiness. And I think the busy thing, like normalizing that as a factor of success sucks. And I think that some of these things about what happiness should be, sometimes when you look online and you compare yourself, like some of these things about what happiness is, like whether it's about money or whether it's about certain levels of success, like that's actually not true. So see what happiness really is in real life to you. So I think that's important. So we were talking about the whole pain and whatever. Happy people actually get sick more seldom.
Yeah.
And when they do get sick, they experience less of the symptoms because so much of feeling the symptoms is mental, right?
Right.
So, and I know that like for me personally, I mean, first of all, I use this essential oil that I'm like crazy about. I've not really been sick. I was sick.
Same here.
Right? I was sick for 2 days over Christmas. And then I took my essential oil. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to knock it out. I took some hot baths, which again, like love the hot bath, you know, happy. And I knocked it out.
I did the same thing. I was fighting. I was fighting. You know, my daughter got taken down by it. My boyfriend got taken down by it. But they're both like
losers.
Not really very happy. They're not happy.
They're miserable individuals.
They're miserable. No,
just kidding.
I'm kidding.
They're not, but they got sick, didn't they? Just saying.
But I fought it off.
I fought like shit. And you know what? I mean, it never happens that people get over a cold in less than a week. But guess what? I got over the freaking flu in 2 days.
Yeah.
So and I feel pretty happy about it. So,
yeah. I mean, whatever. There you go. If you're not happy about that, I don't know what the hell to do.
Right? Happy people have more friends.
That's for sure.
Duh. Because if you're a miserable bitch, nobody likes you. That's what we're going to tell you. Happy people like us are kind of obnoxious, but whatever, we still have friends. People
Lots of friends. People constantly wanting to hang out.
And a support system. And also people want us to support them. That's fine. We'll support and be supported.
It depends,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Happy people donate more to charity.
Yeah, I don't do that. I'm just kidding.
No, I give to charity sometimes, but also they say that giving to charity makes you happy.
I think giving in the way that you want to give.
In a meaningful way.
Makes you happy.
It's all about the meaning. Yeah. I think that when I give to something that I feel is meaningful, then yes. If I feel like I'm being forced to give to something that I don't believe in, then I'm like, fuck you people. You know, and I do it for another reason. I think that I do it for another side of happiness, like the social acceptance or, you know, following. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different. It's crazy. Okay, happy people are more helpful and more likely to volunteer. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not holding some vendetta. They're not like resenting some situation.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I would say that happy people, like, they don't expect, like, they don't have certain set expectations.
Well, they're not trying to get something out of you.
Very important.
They've already given it to themselves.
They've already given it. Like, yeah, when I volunteer, I don't think, oh, I'm volunteering, therefore somebody else owes me something. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think that way. So when you don't think that way, you're like, this is just an experience. Let me get the good side out of this. And so you feel better about it. You're going to be, you know, it's kind of a happy people. You're going to love this. They engage in deeper and more meaningful conversations.
Oh!
Yeah. So that's also, like, I think that is because happy people look for meaning.
They do.
And,
they're constantly reading books, and
Yeah.
they're constantly going to movies, and they're
That's
constantly
creative.
talking to people
Yeah.
and finding stuff out. And
that's creative people. Like, that's creative and that's happy. Like, that's where these things kind of go together. The creative and the happy. Happy people exercise more often and eat more healthy. And I think that that's because, like, the healthy stuff actually has more flavor. They're looking for that experience. They want to feel better. Like, when you know what happy is, I think that you try to pursue that happy
you
more
eat to
often.
live. You don't live to eat.
I mean, I kind of live to eat. I mean,
You kind of do both, I think.
Yeah, it's so yummy.
If you're,
right? Yum.
If you're a happy person.
If you're a happy person, like, you're going to eat something that's really tasty. You're not going to feel guilty about it. And then you're going to have balance. Like, you're going to see, because, like, being happy, like, we love to go for walks. Like, if we were larding out 100%,
we would be lazy bitches.
It'd be harder to go for that walk.
Yeah, we'd be like, blah. Yeah.
It'd be really hard to do that. But, like, as a happy person, you're looking for those experiences that make you feel good.
Yeah.
And I think that the real good feeling, I mean, sometimes it's having something really tasty, but sometimes it's just feeling that you're doing something good for yourself.
Yeah, and it's always, again, it's always a choice. Today, I was like, okay, I'm drinking my weird, nasty protein drink. Right. But then I was like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. And it was super beautiful and lovely. And I walked down by the, you know, the creek. And it was, you know, I had a lovely experience. And I felt enlivened. Oxygenated my skin.
Right? Exactly. Well, I think that also so many times, like, so you just talked about going outside was just lovely. It was just like a simple pleasure. I think that that's something really important because I think a lot of people who are kind of intellectual or kind of creative, they think that happiness
I'm bored.
Well, they think that it's finding meaning. So sometimes I'll see people who are a little bit snobby, like in an intellectual way, who are like, oh my God, why are they so fucking happy?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, the whole...
Oh, they just don't know any better. That's why they're so happy.
Right.
Just,
and you're like, well, that's cool.
Like happiness is dumb. Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
exactly.
So they think that they're ignorant.
Right. But I think that really...
And they might be.
Maybe, but if they learned how to be happy, they've got some form of intelligence for me. But I think that, like, you know, searching for meaning over happiness, probably not your best plan. Like, again, balance in all things. Like, I think that
I think that's kind of a waste of time.
Right? Like, I think that was...
But I mean, if you're in a situation, so I was thinking earlier about the situation with Viktor Frankl in the concentration camp, and there's this part in Man's Search for Meaning where he's like on the verge of death.
Right.
He's, digging a hole.
What does it
He's
mean?
starving. Yes. And at one point he starts to fantasize that he's talking to his wife, who is very in love with, and she was actually pregnant with their baby when they went into the concentration camp.
Oh, God.
And so at this point, he doesn't realize that she's dead. He doesn't know.
My God.
They're in different camps. He doesn't know if she's dead. And he's just having conversations with her. He's near death. He's having conversations. And he said, it made me so happy to have these conversations with her. And he said, you know what? At the end of the day, it didn't matter if she was dead or alive.
Right, no. It was
what
just his
mattered
experience.
is that that's what gave me happiness and meaning in that moment. That helped
100%.
me go on and live another day.
Totally. I mean,
And I know that's a super extreme version.
It is, but that's what we were talking about at the
everyone
beginning.
should read that book, Man's Search for Meaning, because it's absolutely essential reading for your life.
Right. Yes.
And it will just... It's like a big slap in the face, like, stop your fucking
Stop
crying.
Bitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just cheer the fuck up because you didn't go through that.
Right.
But it really just like, it gives you this understanding that sometimes you do kind of have to fantasize about your happiness.
Of course.
And
There's that. Yeah.
to get into that feeling
Right.
emotionally.
It's an emotion, and it's less of an intellectual thing. It's more of an emotion. It's like, certain things to be true. Like, that intellectually this is that. This is not fact-based. This is feeling-based. This is experience-based.
Yeah.
And it's you just having that talent to be like, you know what? I'm going to be happy. It doesn't matter what the reality of, like, you can lose a loved one, and, they're like widows who are extremely happy because they have a support system around them. They're giving back to the community.
Well, and they also see that their partner isn't suffering anymore. And they can be grateful for
like
that.
Anything that they can use to justify being happy, that is a huge talent, a huge advantage for them. And you'll see so many people having gone through all these things that would be miserable, and all of a sudden they become creative later in life, or they become super active and giving back later in life. And I think that's a really great thing. So I think that that's awesome. I think that, you know, having a meaningful life, like that's a major benchmark of the whole happiness thing. And when you're creative, like you have all these different ways of making your life meaningful,
right?
You know, whether it's building the community, or whether it's creating a body of work, or whether it's consuming a lot of interesting things and being able to communicate that with people. Like I think all of those things, the meaning and the happiness, I mean, I think they're, you know, they go hand in hand. Exactly. So yeah, so we're saying the search for meaning is super important, and also a sense of purpose, super important. And we had talked about the hands. You'd said you'd built this.
Oh yeah, like basically,
you'd built your
my one bedroom apartment into a two bedrooms.
So there's a really interesting book, and it's not brand new, but I thought I was going to bring it up. It's called The Creativity Cure. It's a book from 2013. It's How to Build Happiness with Your Own Two Hands.
I like that.
The authors are Carrie and Alton Barron. He's actually a hand surgeon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
And so, yeah, he equates the happiness with actually manual, like crafting and building things.
Well,
and
he's probably seen a lot of people lose that ability.
Thank you.
And
yes, that's exactly
have to rebuild their
a new sense of happiness. Like, yeah. And he saw how he and his wife have observed how, you know, crafts and music and art and all of these things that you actually do with your own two hands, the tactile sense, like that leads to happiness. So they have a whole formula.
Yeah, I just watched a documentary called Charged about this guy that was like in the backcountry.
Oh, who got hit with the lightning, the bear that was
a bear, and
yes, and it zapped his whole thing.
With like 2,400.
Yes, I know. It was so crazy.
And he was a chef.
Yes.
He was a yacht chef, a very successful yacht chef, and he lost his left arm.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but
somebody was telling me about it yesterday.
I just saw it. It's fascinating.
So
you should watch it because he's really positive, and he really works on, you know, and he has lots of breakdowns.
Of course. Well, I mean, I was like freaking electrocuted. I mean,
but then he got testicular cancer.
Oh God.
And had to go through chemo. So yeah, I mean, he likes losing his rib, losing his his balls. I mean, it was just.
He still has balls though, really, in the way he lives his life.
Mean,
well, there's a woman in Charlottesville. I was just in Virginia. This woman who was a butcher and a chef, and she lost her arm, her right arm, in a meat grinder.
Oh, yeah. That makes me think of Moonstruck.
Yeah, isn't it?
Remember when Nicolas Cage lost his fingers in the...
Yes, she lost her whole arm. She's a sommelier now, so she's drinking. So cheers to that.
Meat grinder?
Yes, I know.
Okay, that is way fucking worse than me bringing up Viktor Frankl's pregnant wife dying, getting murdered by Nazis. Way worse. It's way worse.
It's just, it's
way worse.
It's a scale. That's your scale. Okay, but this woman is now a sommelier.
So, that's a super fun job.
When life gives you a meat grinder.
Drink wine.
That was horrible. I'm so sorry, but she's happy. I think she's happy. I really do. She's found a new skill.
She probably has bad days, but...
She may have bad days.
And she might be vegetarian at this point.
Probably, I would be. Jesus Christ. But she works at a steakhouse. Ooh, horrible. Okay, anyway.
Karena!
I know, I'm so sorry.
Fucked up. She does not work at a steakhouse.
She does. I'm so sorry. We are so not putting her name down because I don't want any... Oh my God. Okay, anybody can look her up. Who knows?
Oh my God. That is
I'm so
out
sorry.
of fucking control.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said it.
Wow.
Okay, guess who wrote the preface for the Building Happiness with Your Own Two Hands book? You're going to like this. Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, Bruce. Yeah. I love Bruce.
Yes. I get the feeling that this guy might have been his hand surgeon for like guitar picks.
Oh yeah, possibly.
You know,
possibly,
maybe.
Possibly.
Awesome. I love Bruce. Like Bruce Springsteen is one of these like creative.
Oh yeah, I had a Bruce Springsteen. Paul and I just had a Bruce Springsteen night because I have all these Bruce Springsteen albums, and we were reading the Murakami book, which I almost bought today. And oh my God, it's so good.
Yes.
It's so he. His favorite album is Bruce Springsteen, The River.
Oh my God.
So we were both reading.
It comes full circle.
I know. We were reading the Murakami, Killing the Commendador.
Right.
And then we had to listen to the
album. I love it. I love it.
You know, Bruce Springsteen. Anyway, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. The last book I'm going to talk about is The Happy Life Formula, How to Build Your Life Around the New Science of Happiness. And the author is Nils Salzgeber. And I think that he has a whole website, and we're going to put the link up on the show notes and up here, and it's going to be amazing. And so you guys, we're going to be exploring a few more of our creative themes. Keep watching all week. We're going to have a new format called Creative Shots. Well, she just did a shot of her champagne.
Yeah. So creative shots. They're going to be little vignettes.
Little vignettes of little creative themes
that are concentrated. They're concentrated. Just like when you do a vodka shot.
Boom.
And it just takes you right where you need to be.
Right where you need to be.
That's what it's going to do.
That's what we're going to do. So you can listen to these wherever you are. Like you can listen to while you're taking a dump, while you're having your coffee in the morning, while you are like stopping your car and trying to like rally to get out and go to the supermarket, like anything.
While you're robbing a bank, you could listen to it.
Probably. It's like 2 minutes.
You got to do it in like 2 minutes. So
2 minutes.
You could totally listen to a creative shot while you're robbing a bank.
Yeah, it can time your bank robbery. I agree.
Whatever. I mean.
So you guys, thank you for listening to our happiness episode. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you.
We will see you next time to get drunk
on the creative possibilities.
Woo-hoo.